Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to IBM TV's coverage of the Olympics in 2020. I'm Nick Calavita. I'm going to be one of your co-hosts, along with Mark Lee, who's the host of the Mark Lee Radio Hour on the IBM TV network. And we have a lot of exciting events coming up, of course, on the Olympics, but we also have some really stunning news, which happened in men's tennis not too long ago. Mark, tell us what's going on with the men's tennis.
It looks like the person that was favored to win this whole thing has been going for the Golden Slam and all of that, and he has gone out. So it looks like that all-star of tennis has definitely lost the match and will not be getting what I think is called the Golden Slam, which is when you win all of the slam tournaments that are out there, you know, the American, the Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, the French, and I forget the other ones that are out there as well. But then you are expected to get the gold medal and all of that. So, you know, there's the calendar year slam, there's the other slam, but, you know, definitely our good friend that is known for his tennis prowess has lost. And I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute. That's not even possible. This man was supposed to have it guaranteed that he won and everything. So, you know, he's one of the greatest tennis players of all times. And, you know, definitely folks are probably very much shocked that Novak Djokovic has lost in tennis. I mean, I know a lot of folks are probably going Twitter heavy over that and everything. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at Twitter and it says that with Djokovic's loss to Zverev, Steffi Graf will remain the only tennis player to ever win an Olympic gold medal and the calendar year Grand Slam in the same year, aka the Golden Grand Slam. So Steffi Graf still has that honor and is the only one to have done it. A lot of people were already mailing this one in for Djokovic, but it is not happening. So definitely Steffi Graf will be the only one to have had that honor, and definitely a lot of people are still talking about it on Twitter and on social media just in general. So that is one of the things. And by the way, those other ones that I was trying to remember, it's the U.S. Open, the Wimbledon, the French Open, and the one I forgot, which actually our good friend Shaquille would have been up there.
I know, he's going to kill you.
Is the Australian Open and everything. So definitely it's the Australian Open. And then if you get the other one, then you've got the Golden Slam. But the Golden Slam is not going to happen for Djokovic this time around, and it looks like Steffi Graf will be the one that is the only one to have had that for a number of years. So definitely looks like that's just going to be something that is news and everything that folks will be very much shocked by, and will, as they wake up and hear this news, they will be also shocked. I want to bring up another story just really quickly and everything.
Well, before you do, maybe we should bring in our golden girl. We have our own golden girl for the Golden Slam. Let's bring in Jackie. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. How you doing, Jackie? Glad to see you.
Jackie? Thank you.
Oh, I wanted to bring in this other story that I found very much interesting as well, just because I love catching up with sports from South America and definitely things of that nature. And, you know, there was a young lady, Rebecca Andrade, that did not even qualify, or did not even know if she's going to qualify for the Olympic Games. But on yesterday evening, this 22-year-old gymnast won the silver medal in the all-around, making her the first Brazilian to win any Olympic medal in women's gymnastics, and also the first woman to win an all-around medal for a country that did not qualify a full team for the Games. And she did so, and you'll be shocked about this, my good buddy and the owner of the network, Nick. She did this after tearing a ligament in her knee twice in 5 years. So she tore a ligament, and actually she did not, she competed when the Olympics were in her home country, but did not do good when that happened and everything. So one of the injuries kept her out of the 2019 World Championships, which was Brazil's last chance to qualify a full team for the Tokyo Games, and her best chance to qualify as an individual. And without her, Brazil finished fourth with 9 teams earning spots. But because of the virus, because of the coronavirus pandemic, she got another chance to make the Olympics at the Pan American Championship in June, where the top 2 eligible finishers would earn spots in Tokyo. She won. And her Olympic medal was a culmination of an effort that began at Rio de Janeiro Olympics back in 2016, which was in her home country, where she, when she did well in qualifying, but ended up finishing in 11th place. This time she qualified in second place behind Simone Biles of the United States and was nearly able to replicate the performance in the final. Her total score on Thursday was only a tenth of a point lower than her score in qualification. And apparently she did some great show-stopping routines, and definitely folks were really impressed. And she finished just 0.135 behind Sunisa Lee, and no relative of mine as far as I know and everything. But after all she's been through, the folks are definitely thinking that in this case, a silver was almost as good as a gold. So definitely she won, and definitely a lot of people were very much excited by that victory of hers and everything.
And it's amazing because Brazil is a huge country. To see that it first Olympic gold medal or medal in gymnastics is sort of amazing, but just realize gymnastics had been dominated by the U.S. and also the former Soviet Union for so many years that no one could actually compete. Jackie, what sort of reports do we have right now coming in? What do you have?
So I just wanted to report on a few highlights that just recently came out. The U.S. scored another 5 swimming medals. We have Caleb Dressel in the men's freestyle. We have Bobby Fink in the men's freestyle, Regan Smith and Haley Flinker in the women's butterfly, and also in the women's 4x200 freestyle relay. And then we also have San Marino, who is also taking its first Olympic medal after Alessandra Pirelli claimed bronze in the women's trap shooting.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that on San Marino, because I'm going to visit San Marino in about a month from now. I'm going to actually be in San Marino. It's a place that, for people that are not familiar with the United States, it's a little city-state in Italy, toward the Adriatic Sea. Well, you'd be familiar with that, Jackie. It's close to that European area. Okay, but in the United States, we go, where's San Marino? It's just like Mauritius. Where's Mauritius? I have to go pull my Golden Globe and find it. But yeah, it's a city-state, which is really a country right now. So it's good to see that they actually won a medal. And I think that was fantastic for that. And of course, Jackie, you notice you have your Jackie fan club already coming in. So I don't know how that happens, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go take a look at some of the sports that are out there and see what's going on with this the area. Tennis and Brazil, we won. Let's go to swimming, okay? Because that we talked about it just briefly, and I did watch the U.S. Couple of the men's swimmers. They win, and they win at the last minute. What's going on with swimming today, or is the swimming competition over with, or do we know? Mark, Jackie, do we see any swimming events? They were
still going on, if I remember it correctly, but let me double check on that and everything. By the way, I did want to just come back really briefly to the whole thing with gymnastics, because like I said, Sunisa Lee did win that gold medal, and her dad actually had an emotional message, not only for his daughter, but for her teammate, Simone Biles, as well. Because, a lot of folks were paying very much attention to Simone Biles because of her early exit and everything. So definitely after the event, the dad apparently said that they did it for Simone and everything. So definitely they were understanding what you went through and saying that, this victory was actually for her as well. So definitely it's good seeing that kind of team support going on in the Olympics and all of that. So definitely great to see that we are seeing that kind of team support going on. So that is a great thing to see happen and everything. I know that one of the things that you're not going to be too happy about, at least right now, with I'm still trying to look up about the swimming and everything, is that while we're ahead in the overall count, I know you're a big person about keeping track of the numbers and everything, Nick, but while we are ahead in the overall count, we are severely down in the gold count. So China is beating us in the gold count because they have got 18 golds. We've only got 14 golds. We've got like 16 silvers, and we've got like 11 bronzes. So our overall count is 41 and China's is 38. But in terms of the gold, we got to do a little bit of catching up. So we're not doing that good in the gold count. So we've got to figure out a way to catch up in the gold so that we can see what's happening in that regard. So right now, it seems like we're a little bit on the behind side. So we've got some catching up to do.
Well, speaking of gold, we just have a person who's an expert at gold who's joined us from Canada. Let's bring in the head of modern investing, Sasha Skar from Canada.
Good morning. Good morning.
Ratsaska, or whatever you say in Russian.
Okay, so we have not only gold, we have also silver medals, we have bronze medals. I think there should be wooden medals for fourth place, because people are trying so hard and they're so near the top places, but they're still in the fourth place, and there should be some kind of a distinction. Maybe a wooden medal would do or something to to get noticed. And I wouldn't worry about U.S. Gold medals counts, because the second week when there will be athletic, U.S. will just wipe out everybody there, and we'll get probably 155 gold medals right there. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Well, you know, I have a suggestion now that you said, because just making it to the Olympics means you're a world-class athlete. And we all know that they're not going to give gold, which, by the way, most of it's made up by silver. Some of our backstory was that. Right. I didn't know that. Or you're not going to get silver, you're not going to get bronze. But let's be innovative here, which we do on the IBM TV network. And here's my suggestion for the people that participate. You don't get gold, you don't get silver, but here's what you get: Bitcoin. Okay, so the thing is, if we give them Bitcoin, then maybe they can say, well, I got my Bitcoin because I went to the Olympics and I was a qualifier. So you could have Bitcoin qualifier. Like I said, I have my own little Bitcoin. It's pretty cool, but it would be even cooler if you had an Olympic Bitcoin. Think about that.
Actually, it's a great idea, Nick, because I'm not, as investment quality of Bitcoin is concerned, I'm not a great fan of it, but it definitely beats zero, because zero is exact amount of money what this medal winners, doesn't matter gold, silver, or bronze, are getting from the International Olympic Committee. So anything over than higher than zero is definitely appreciated. So they sold rights, television rights, for some billions of dollars. Olympic Committee itself is making over $3 billion, but the sportsmen are not getting anything, and this is incredible situation. Of course, some national Olympic committees, they can throw some money at their best sportsmen, and which they do most of the time. But that's where I saw some countries can give them, I don't know, $5,000-$10,000, and some countries like Singapore can give $750,000.
That's right. Singapore.
Sounds like
Singapore has a great package.
Yeah, so Nick, you asked me about the swimming. You asked me about the swimming, and there's some more events going on this evening. And of course, the lovely people that love betting odds are already putting betting odds even on the Olympics. But later on this particular evening, it looks like between 9:30 and 10:30 tonight, our time, the women's 200-meter breaststroke final will be taking place, and there is actually a young lady, Tadjana Schoenmaker of South Africa, who is the overwhelming favorite, apparently, but she's the overwhelming favorite. And then in the men's 200-meter backstroke final, one of the ladies from a area that definitely Sasha will know quite well, as that's part of the world that he came from originally, will be competing, and Evgeny Rylov is checking in as the favorite there to win that, but Ryan Murphy of the USA is a favorite, has a chance to pull off an upset. So that's in the man's 200-meter backstroke, and then the women's 100-meter freestyle final, in which one of the Australians is definitely a high favorite to win, and everything, that being Emma McCullen. And then the last event this evening will be the man's 200-meter individual medals final, where actually we've got a person that is the favorite, that being Team USA's Michael Andrews. So Michael Andrews is the favorite to win in that. I did have a quick question because we were talking about it offline for both Sasha and for Jackie as well. So we were talking about it offline. We know that right now there is a sport that is kind of comes in the Olympics, then it goes out of the Olympics, and it goes back in the Olympics. So that's baseball. So we know that baseball is being played right now in the Olympics. I think it's not in the Olympics for the Paris Games, but it's back in the Olympics for the Los Angeles Games, which will be the ones coming our way in about 7 years or something like that. But I was hearing that there is a proposal by the NFL to put football in there as well, but it'll be flag football. So I was just wondering, as a young lady, Jackie, and also Sasha, as a gentleman from Canada, what you think about the possibility of football, American football, because, most of the time when you talk about football to the rest of the world, they are thinking what we call soccer, but definitely to the rest of the world, that is football. But I was wondering what you think about football coming, and it's not even going to be like the hard tackle football, but apparently it's going to be the flag version. So, Jackie, what are your thoughts about flag football coming in possibly 2028?
I mean, the possibility of putting in flag football by 2028, it could potentially provide possibly more opportunities for a lot of other international teams as well who would like to play the sport. By all means, it's like we've all known that it's like regular football has always been a highly aggressive sport within itself. So I truly believe that it will be very interesting to see how many other international teams will be playing flag football. As we know, some international teams might not be that familiar with flag football. So I think it's definitely going to be an interesting setup how we will be able to explain this concept of a newer version of football rather than the aggressive one.
Makes sense. What are your thoughts on it, Sasha? Like I said, I know that there's even been football in Canada. There's a Canadian Football League. Actually, my uncle, who is here in Durham, had the pleasure of playing in the Canadian Football League several years ago and everything. I think he was playing back in probably when I was a young child. So that would have been like the 60s or the 70s. But he did have the chance to play professional football, and where he played his professional football at for a significant part of it was in the Canadian League. I think he might have also had some little bit of play in the NFL, but I do remember that he definitely told me that he played in the Canadian League. So what is your thought about flag football coming as an Olympic sport?
First of all, I would encourage your uncle to continue to play in the Canadian League, and I wish him all the best. Now, let's qualify for exactly what this American football and baseball are. It's not a sport. It's an entertainment. So if we would like to get more entertainment type of activities in the Olympics, then they're pretty good candidates to get there. But as a sport is concerned, it's not a sport of any kind and should be banned for next 155 years.
Well, I got bad news for you, because I already know for a fact, and Jackie may be aware of this as well, that if you want to talk about entertainment in the next Olympics, in the Paris Games, we will be having breakdancing. Breakdancing will be an Olympic sport. In the
cheerleading, also an Olympic sport. Okay, so I think the Olympics are morphing over toward entertainment. But speaking about being banned, Sasha, since you're familiar with this particular country, since you came from, well, I don't know, Odessa may be part of the Ukraine or Russia. It's pretty confusing.
So far it is, yeah.
I'm not sure really what it was, but it was the old Soviet Union. What about the ROC? What's your thoughts on, Sasha, on the ROC? There was this thing that they couldn't let Russia use their name, but then they let Russia use their name. They can't let Russia compete, but they let Russia compete, and they compete with the ROC. And frankly, they're doing a pretty good job right now.
They're in fourth place as medals are concerned. But this just shows the wimpy politics of International Olympic Committee. Okay, obviously they understand something about financial markets, because of course Russia pays them a hell of a lot of money to get accepted into Olympics, even after the stupid name. It's ROC, it's a Russian Olympic Committee. What is a committee? It's not a team, it's a committee.
It's a committee.
eat.
Okay,
So,
right.
so basically, they were disbanded in first place because it was proven beyond any reasonable doubt that they used forbidden substances. So they're all cheaters and liars. So why would you get these people into Olympics in the first place? I don't care about what name Russia or Russian committee or sport committee or whatever it might be. It's just ludicrous, and I would just ban all of them and you know what would happen? They would all, in a matter of next say maximum 2 years, all of them would immigrate to other countries like US, Canada, European countries, Western Europe, or so on. All of them would move on because people getting sick and tired of idiotic regimes. Look at this Iranian judo fighter. He moved. I think he left Iran. He moved to Germany, where he got rights to stay for some time, and then he was accepted by believe it or not, Mongolia, because I think president of Mongolia is a big fan of judo himself. He's a fighter, so he was accepted there, and now he got a silver medal in judo competition, I think under 81 kilos. And then he devoted his medal to Israel because one of his best friends is an Israeli fighter. And so this is incredible story. Iranian person got into Germany, got into Mongolia, and devoted the medal to Israel. It's mind-boggling, to tell us the truth. Quite interesting story.
Yeah, and Jackie, since your parents were from Syria, tell us a little bit about what's going on in Syria. I think they've had some issues lately, but how are they doing in the Olympics? Have you been following them?
Oh, for sure. The Syrian Olympics, as of right now, they have been competing in the sports of, we've had the 12-year-old little girl who's competing in the hand ping pong, and then we also have other members of the Syrian team who are also competing in sports, such as the swimming competition, and as well as the gymnastic games. And as the Syrian team is also playing on, we also have the Olympic team as well that are also playing along with them. And the Syrian team has also gone up in the games against Germany, against the US, and other major countries.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the thing is, unfortunately, there's another team out there, and they don't come from just Syria. They come from a lot of different places. I don't even know if they come from the Latin America area, because we have a lot of people moving up from Guatemala and Honduras and all these places. And this team is called the refugee team. Does anyone know how the refugee team is doing?
Actually, I have a question about the refugee team. Tell me, these illegal immigrants who are coming to the United States of America on a daily basis, are they eligible to be in this refugee team?
That's an absolutely good question. You know, see, the problem, I think, if you're an illegal immigrant, you come to the United States and say, hey, I want to be on the refugee team, ICE will come and arrest you and take you back to your country. So it becomes a real problem here in the U.S. is that if you announce you're a illegal immigrant, and people are scared to death because of ICE, and we've had this draconian policy for decades in terms of how they deal with immigrants here, which I'm totally against. Which I know is something that is really for World Edition.
I looked it up, by the way, and I looked it up, by the way. The scholarships provided by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, through Olympic Solidarity is for 56 promising refugee athletes from 13 countries that have been training hard in the hopes of making it to Tokyo 2020. And the 56 refugee athlete scholarship holders come from 21 host countries, including Australia, Austria, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Croatia, Egypt, France, Germany, Israel, Jordan, Kenya, so they come from all over the world, Luxembourg, Portugal, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Turkey, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom. And they represent 12 sports, and the sports cover a wide variety of things, everything from badminton and boxing on down to wrestling. So they cover a wide variety of sports that are involved in that and everything. I did want to say about another sport, and I was wondering if anybody has ever participated in it. I know that I've got friends that are one of our local bars and things that are always involved in it. They actually even play it on a local level, and that is the sport of rugby. So like I said, whether it's men or women's rugby, but apparently in terms of women's rugby, we both the United States and Canada have not done that well. As a matter of fact, the Canadian women's rugby team has missed out on the quarterfinals after the Olympics after a 31-0 loss to France earlier today in Tokyo. So they lost to France in that kind of way and everything. So they will not be getting a medal. And like I said, I think that the best we can do is maybe a 9th place finish. So, you know, they are missed the quarterfinal. So I think they probably can still finish like 5th or 6th, but that won't be in the medal count whatsoever. So it does look like New Zealand is going to face Fiji in the first of the women's semifinals, while Great Britain will take on France in the other, and then the winners will go for the gold medal. So it looks like the little small island of Fiji still has a chance of winning a medal in rugby and everything. So I know that may be shocking to some of our folks. And speaking of Canada, maybe it's just because I don't always think, I know there's a lot of, water spaces in Canada. It's a very big nation and everything, but I never think of them as being a rowing kind of place, or a place where a lot of rowing takes place. And that might just be my own non-knowledge and everything, but apparently they have won a medal in women's rowing, and that it just recently came out that they won first place. And as a matter of fact, that's the women's 8 won their first Olympic gold medal since 1992. So they are going to be standing atop of the Olympic podium in the rowing competition. I do know that I have told you before that there is a gentleman, and I'm still hoping to get him on at some point, from that is with Navy Sports and everything, but he is in the West Coast. That is part of the problem, Nick, with some of the folks that I invited, including Mr. Leonard, is that, 8:30 for us is actually 5:30 in the morning for them. So it's not the best time in the morning for us to get Mr. Leonard or the gentleman, Mr. Darden, if I'm remembering his name correctly, that is with Navy Sports, but he has his own Navy Sports blog. So he's very big on the aquatic sports. So I am still hoping to get him on. I may just have to get him up early in the morning, but that is at 5:30 their time. So we might have to do a later edition at some point.
I did check that. Plus they're speaking. Leonard is speaking, Ray Leonard speaking this week in Chicago. Right. So, it's hard to do this and speak at the same time, but hopefully I'll be able to join one of our future programs as things get settled down. But it's good to see Canada actually compete. Canada, eh? And actually win something.
Apparently, Canada traditionally is very strong in all aquatic sports, whether it's swimming and rowing and many others. And so far as they're doing quite well there. Now, about a women's rugby team, watch next Olympics. We will put a lot of transgender women into the team, and they will just beat up everybody easily.
There are 2 or 3 transgender athletes competing right now in the Olympics, which I think is pretty interesting. A subject of our World Edition, which comes up at 10 o'clock on the IBM TV network. We should discuss that, Sasha, because it could be potentially controversial.
Are there any transgenders in refugee team?
I don't
know. There are no transgenders in the refugee team.
Yeah. So like I said, it'll be a very interesting conversation for us later on the World Edition, I guess at 10. Anyway, we're getting close to the half hour, so we're going to wrap it up here, and we'd like to thank everybody for watching IBM TV at the Olympics. Tomorrow, Ada will be back. She said so, Jackie. Okay, she had something else going on. And she does a great job. And of course, Jackie has her own fan club around the world. And we will see you tomorrow around the world with the IBM TV network on the Olympics. Catch you tomorrow.
Thank you.